The Quest 3 is here, the hype has settled, and it's time to peel back the curtain to reveal its true potential. And that's because we can now get a really good idea what the future of the Quest holds. But with Christmas just around the corner, you might be on the fence when it comes to buying Meta's new device. And for good reason, with potential entries from Pico, Samsung and Valve, and the possibility of Meta releasing 2 newer headsets next year, it's understandably a difficult decision to make. But rest assured, in this video we are not just scratching the surface. We're going all in to bring you the definitive reasons why you should buy the Meta Quest 3. This is not going to be a negative video. I'm not going to focus too heavily on the things like lower battery life, uncomfortable facial interface, huge storage difference, expensive accessories and high price tag. Instead, we are going to go over all the reasons why you might want to buy the Quest 3. And just so you know, I'm not affiliated with Meta in any way. This is just my honest opinion from using VR headsets over the last 8 years. But let's start by talking about competition, or lack of. Now, with most other devices like TVs, phones and consoles, we have a wealth of options. But in all honesty, when it comes to standalone VR, Meta's biggest competition is, well, Meta. The Pico is the closest thing we have to real competition in the standalone space, and it's not the same level as the Quest 3, at all. But when it comes to PCVR, that's a different question entirely, and we'll get to that later in the video. Next year, we could see a few entries from companies like Pico, with leaks of a potential Pico 5, Pico 5 Pro and Pico 5 Pro Max. And while the leak spec sheet is mind-blowingly impressive, I think they should be taken with a pinch of salt, as there are also rumours ByteDance that the owners of Pico to, I quote, reconsider its strategic positions in the VR space. And that follows after redundancies left Pico with 50% of the staff it once had. And so in my opinion, this puts Pico out of the competition for now. You can't count on a company that might or might not be here in a year or two. And this is a shame. I really wanted Pico to give Meta a run for its money, so we get better headsets overall. The leaked Samsung headset that was due to compete with Meta's mixed reality headset has also supposedly been cancelled. And this just really leaves the Valve Decard, which now, according to new rumours, won't be standalone at all. And that brings us straight back to Meta. Their only competition is themselves. And by looking at the rumours and the AMAs from Boz, you start to get an idea that there could be 2 new headsets next year, the Meta Quest Lite and the Quest Pro 2. The Quest Pro 2 could feature the new Snapdragon XR chip due to be announced early next year, and this is meant to compete with the powerhouse that will be the Apple Vision Pro. Now, as per Boz's AMAs, they've been playing with the idea of a Quest 2 by testing several prototypes, and I believe this announcement from Qualcomm will go hand in hand in making the Quest Pro 2. And that will leave the Quest 3 in the dust in terms of performance and pass-through, but at what cost? We all know the Vision Pro will be very expensive, and this gives Meta the freedom to still be expensive but enter at a significantly cheaper price than the Vision Pro. So unless you're willing to spend at least 1k on something that would resemble the Vision Pro, that's out of the question too. But the Meta Quest Lite, on the other hand, will be at the other end of that spectrum. Codenamed Venturing, and according to an analyst, the Quest Lite could be launched as early as next year and cost as little as $200, but will have less features than the Quest 3. This, from what it looks like, will be essentially a beefier Quest 2, keeping the Fresnel lenses, grayscale pass-through, but opting for the more powerful XR2 Gen 2 chipset, the same one in the Quest 3. Now, this is a good option for some, but in my opinion it loses out on the best feature of the Quest 3, and is the reason why there is no viable competition at the moment, and why this is an upgrade from the Quest 2 and really enters a new territory for XR. And now we've essentially removed all competition from the equation, we can focus on my favourite part, mixed reality. Now, 7 years ago, a video released on YouTube called Hyper Reality, a dystopian look on the future of AR, and for longer than that, I've been dreaming of a world where the physical and digital are merged. The Quest Pro did give me a slight glimpse of this with games like Baston and Demio, but the Quest 3 really pushes this reality into a new dimension. With multiple mixed reality options for multiple games, the mass consumer market finally gets a taste of a world where physical and digital meet. There is nothing stranger than a zombie walking into your living room through a digital portal on Drop Dead the Cabin, or creating a roller coaster to go around your physical space like the Roller Coaster Tycoon days on Coaster Mania, or to create your own reality that overlays with the physical with Figmin. The Quest 3 has pushed developers to create for mixed reality, and it has an almost endless amount of applications. Like my last videos, I'll show off several augmented reality games in the background, but for those who already have the Quest 3, the visuals aren't perfect. There is distortion close up, and it can be grainy in low light environments. But in saying that, this is the best you can buy today. I don't know any mixed reality headset that provides as much optimization and content as the Quest 3, and for a price of $499, this is incredibly cheap for that type of device. When you think you can have a mixed reality TV in your living room at any size, how much would that cost if that was a real TV? And that's just one of the many features. The addition of the depth sensor also makes this a step above any other headset, and automatic mapping is going to be the way forward from now. With this feature, it enables more complex possibilities, such as balls or bullets bouncing off your walls or table, and in combination with excellent hand tracking, you can have some mind-blowing experiences. With the first-hand demo, you can get a taste of the holy grail of augmented reality, and that's occlusion. You can see here my hands are visible all the way around the object, and that's what the new SDK is capable of, so developers can start implementing this. But this isn't just an augmented reality headset. Most importantly, it's a VR headset, and if you're coming from the Quest 2, your primary use is VR. For that, you have to ask, is it worth the upgrade? Like any generic console upgrade, it can be difficult to notice the changes, as the previous generations get the same or similar software updates. I usually test a few games out to see how the performance difference takes effect, but with the Quest 3, you immediately notice the extra power. Everything is just more snappy and responsive. The XR2 Gen 2 chip really does shine through and makes the Quest 2 seem sluggish in comparison, but it's really the games that matter. Blade and Sorcery is one of my all-time favourite games. I usually play this on PCVR because it just runs significantly better, and so playing this on the Quest 3 was a test worth doing. The game still stutters to begin with, but once loaded, everything was nearly PC smooth. The graphics definitely seem sharper too, although this game hasn't yet been optimised for the Quest 3. Another game I like to immediately test is Beat Saber for tracking. When it comes to Beat Saber, Lighthouse tracking is the ideal player environment, but playing this with the new redesigned controllers, I had my doubts how it would perform. Gone are the IR rings, and in its place is a design more similar to the Quest Pro, but without its own internal inside-out tracking. But I really tried to test the tracking on this, and Meta have got so good at it at this point. It's actually difficult for me to try and lose tracking, let alone accidentally. Meta headsets are the gold standard when it comes to inside-out tracking. They are constantly improving on it, but that brings us to visual clarity. Pancake lenses are the new standard, and they really are significantly better than the Quest 2 Fresnel lenses. The resolution is also slightly higher. I'm not going to bore you with the specs again and again, I'll leave those in the description. I know people always make comparisons with console gaming when it comes to graphics, and it's understandably nowhere near that level, but for me, it's a complete non-issue. The reason I play some VR games on PCVR isn't because the graphics are better, it's because of performance. 120Hz is the standard for me, and any less than that is less than an ideal experience. But Quest games are becoming more graphically intense, and I don't think there is a better graphical comparison than the upgrade The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners will be shortly receiving. It's mind-blowing how fast things have changed, and this is only the beginning of what's possible with the Quest 3. But the resolution, in my opinion, is getting to a point where the upgrades are becoming less noticeable. The Pimax Crystal, for example, has a significantly higher resolution than the Quest, but it's only really noticeable with apps like Big Screen or whilst watching TV. The only thing I wish the Quest did have was a micro OLED display, as the LCD panel can seem slightly overlit in places, and the contrast is, well, average. But with every update, Meta's headsets are always improved upon. Everything is constantly tweaked, and there is so much to come to the Quest 3, with a wealth of incredible updates in the next few months. But before I get into the future of the Quest 3, I want to briefly touch on PCVR. Now, PCVR is the only use case where the Quest 3 is not a clear option. The main features of the Quest come with standalone and mixed reality, and PCVR users most probably won't see much of those benefits. With every new generation, it takes time for Meta to optimise their headset for use with things like AirLink. Even though the Quest 3 boasts Wi-Fi 6E, I personally still prefer to use the link cable. The Quest is still not at a point where it's comparable to a DisplayPort, and so if you're looking for a PCVR headset, I'd probably recommend looking elsewhere, till the Quest 3 gets proper optimization to make the most of the new hardware. But keeping on to improvements, within the next few months we'll start to see some huge updates, bring it with the Xbox Cloud partnerships, upgrade to your mixed reality space with augments and portals, and full upper body tracking using the new camera layout on the Quest 3. If you've never owned a Quest before, expect regular updates that overall add an incredible amount of value over time. Meta never fails to keep trying to develop and push the boundaries of their devices, and to be honest, most of us wouldn't have a channel on YouTube if Meta didn't push out these updates so frequently. So to conclude, it's pretty obvious to me that the Quest 3 is the best all-purpose mixed reality headset on the market. There is no other company who has dedicated as much resources to VR than Meta. And for that, you have to give them credit for building our dream devices. Now, before I go, I just want to show you what I've been working on. Playing VR games is like starring in your own movie, and that's the idea behind these posters I made. If you'd like to check them out and help support the channel, the link is down below. Like and subscribe if you want to be part of the 3%, and as always, I'll catch you on the next one.